Hey guys, Corey here with a new scrapbook process video for you for HipKit. Anyhow, so today is a mixed media Monday, and I am going to be making a plaid design using the stencil from the July color kit. I'm also using the colors from the July color kit to make this plaid type of design. So here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to mix colors together. I'm using the yellow and the blue, and I'm just testing them out on this piece of watercolor paper just next to my palette so that I can make sure I'm getting the right mix of colors that I want. And one of my favorite things to use is molding paste. I'm sorry, I can't even think today. So one of my favorite things to use is the molding paste, and so I'm just going to mix that with the colors, and that's what I'm going to use in this stencil. This stuff is so much fun to use. It dries really fast. I use it all the time. You guys know I use it all the time. But it's just fun. You know, you can do so many things with it. The stencils are great. If you make your own stencils, it works with that. I mean, it works without a stencil. Like, I love how it takes in the color, but it doesn't really lighten it at all. Like, if you put white paint and mix these colors into white paint, you know, it almost like kind of dilutes it, you know, so it's like a light, but this stuff doesn't do that. And I don't know, it's just really fun. So anyhow, of course, I'm going to use that on Mixed Media Monday because it's my favorite thing to use. So anyhow, I've got my three colors, kind of this greenish yellow, a blue, and then a green color. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the stencil and an old gift card to put the paste on the paper. So it's super easy. Now, as I was doing this though, I had a ceiling fan going and it actually was drying my paste out. So I had to work pretty quickly because I realized that it was drying out faster than I was expecting it to. And so I did have to go pretty quick once I realized this. And then I also just kind of like, I didn't actually, like, I usually make way too much, and this time apparently I didn't make enough. So then I was like, oh crud, I'm going to add some other colors instead of just layering them. I kind of tried to mix them together a little bit. So that's why I went back over it. And then I wanted to get it, going the other way. So I just got my hair dryer out, and I'm just going to quickly dry the rest of this so that when I put colors on top, it doesn't smudge everything with the stencil. So it really only took a second because, like I said, it was already drying out, so it went pretty quick. So now I'm just going to layer the yellow on over top of that using the stencil and that same little gift card. And then once that's all dry, I'm going to have a really great foundation for my page. So this still felt like a little bit kind of empty, so I did go ahead and get more of the colors, and I'm just gonna splatter them on the page. I like having all those droplets, and I feel like that extra color just is almost like embellishment itself, and so that's why I like to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and add those on, and it dries right on top of the molding paste, like without a problem. So I'm doing that, and then to lighten it up just a little bit, I just put some on my palette paper and add water from a paintbrush, and I'm able to lighten it up and just get a few other different colors on there as well, or different hues at least, or different saturations, whatever, you know the word I'm looking for. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then once this is all dry, I did go ahead and just let the liquid dry on its own, because I find that it dries better than using the heat gun. So once that's dry, I'm back, and I'm just going to go ahead and start getting my page all together. The first photo that I used for this was I had printed way too dark, so I actually ripped it off and reprinted it, having done lighter, but I don't think that is actually in my video, but I have done that before. So once I got it on the page, I was like, whoa, that photo is really dark. I didn't even notice it before, and so, I was glad to go ahead and do that. The first thing I'm going to do is get the title on, and it's called When Sisters Get Together. And this was my three girls. My oldest was visiting us from school, but where she lives now because she's got a full-time job out there. And so she came down and hung out with us for a week, which was really fun. And we got to do some cool activities with her around. And so, of course, these three were like clowns, and it was like, usually it was like, which one are we going to pick on? And in this photo, obviously, the little one was getting probably squeezed or pinched or tickled or something like that by her older sisters. So the rest of this is really simple. I'm just going through all of the embellishments that came in the different July kits and just adding them here and there. I'm going to kind of stick to this where the background, the plaid in the background is basically right through the center of the page, but I really want the embellishments to kind of go diagonally. So the drops, the splatters kind of are in opposite corners for the most part, and then I want the embellishments to kind of go that way too. So, and then the yellow kind of like already has started directing that whole process of going diagonally as well. So I kind of like that. So I'm just kind of keeping going with that. I'm using pretty much like every little chipboard piece, floral piece, because I want it to, it is at the beach. So even though it doesn't look real tropical in the picture, I do want that beachy type of feel to everything. So I'm using all the small little die cut flowers. And then this bicycle, because it actually perfectly matched the yellow. And so I was really excited about that. Sometimes I have trouble with like these chipboard or die cut pieces that are like a bicycle or sunglasses or something like that, because I'm like, well, how would you actually use that unless the page was about that? But you know what? I was like, screw it. I'm just going to put it on this page. I really like the way it looks. The colors match perfectly, and it's a nice little embellishment piece. So I did think that that was kind of fun. So then I'm using a couple of these other little flowers and leaves and things like that, just things that look kind of tropical, just to kind of keep this little beachy feel. And I did make sure to glue all of the chipboard pieces down, even though they're already adhesives, because my page was still a little bit on the damp side. It wasn't like, dried out. And so if you try to stick a sticker on that, it eventually will just come up, and I don't want that to happen. So I did go ahead and use extra adhesive to get everything down. Now I'm just pulling out all these little flowers all around and getting those in the places that I want them to be. This page I actually don't do a lot of journaling on either. I just have the date from the day that we were there and then where we were. I probably need to add some sort of little story, but with the plaid and how it's a dimensional, thing, I was kind of like wondering where I would put journaling. So I think now that I'm sitting here looking at it, what I'm probably going to do is just add a journaling card and just actually stick it up underneath the photograph, because I only put adhesive right through the center of it. So I do have enough space to kind of like tuck something up there. So now that the page is done and I'm looking at it, I probably will go back and just add some journaling onto a card, stick it back there, and then we can always pull it out and read about the day, which would be really fun to do. I do try to get those memories, but a lot of the time I hide the journaling anyhow, so that's really not so out of character for me. So now I'm just adding the last few little enamel dots, like I said, where we were, and honestly, guys, that's everything. So here's my page, and then there's a few little details here and there. But I would definitely encourage everyone to get out there, use your mixed media supplies, and obviously mix them with the July hip kits. They're awesome. Otherwise, you can find me creatively on Instagram. Bye.